Hey, he brought coffee.
Hey, not both of us can be perfect.
Did he?
No.
Oh.
What? He didn't bring coffee?
He didn't bring coffee. No.
I thought that was a requirement.
That was a requirement. He didn't
You
bring
even
coffee.
said you were going to text it to
Nobody
him.
gave me nobody gave me the memo.
Oh, I sent you the memo.
I don't think
Here,
so.
let me get my phone. I'll find it.
Did you delete it?
I probably did. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Outer Belt. I'm Patrick, and you all know my friends.
Chili.
Buttermilk.
Eric.
Jerry.
And tonight we have a couple special guests. For the first half of the show, we have my good friends, Mr. Eric and Mrs. Kayla Bendner.
I think you missed
Nailed
the
it.
N.
Nailed it.
You
Did you?
did. You nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Might stand corrected.
Nailed it. How do you say it again? Because I always screw it up.
We just say Bender, but technically you're supposed to say Bendner.
Bendner, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's Swedish.
German.
German?
Swedish-German.
Swedish-German.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I
that,
am
it's that hybrid.
Yeah,
I
it's
am a
hybrid.
sweet German.
You
Well,
are a
it's
sweet German. Yes.
There
You
go.
know,
He can't get Cheshire right either. And I love the way he says it.
how do I say it? Cheshire, right?
No.
What? Is that not right?
It's only because I said it. I'll have to catch you off guard
Yeah, you will.
later on.
Buttermilk. I thought that's how
You
you
do
say
like Cheshire.
Cheshire.
Cheshire. It's not Shesh.
it. Cheshire.
Yeah, no.
Cheshire Farms.
No, it's not.
They make really good the sausages,
summer
the
sausage?
summer
Oh, yeah.
sausage, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheese and the
Amazing.
pasteurized cheese product.
It's coming up on holiday time. They're going to be having
It is coming up on holiday time.
The pop-up stores coming up here soon for Cheshire Farms.
And Spirit Halloween.
Yes. Yes.
And we got a brand new Bed Bath & Beyond they could move into. Recently vacated.
Plenty of space.
Plenty of
yeah.
space.
Plenty of space.
They got some big lots to take over, too.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's sad. We didn't talk about that.
It's going to be a world full of spirit Halloween.
There's going to be so much spirit.
so much spirit.
We've got one that opened literally like right around the corner from our house.
What's
Really?
it in?
What was it?
Like an
Yeah, what
old
was it?
I
old
have
what?
no idea what it
Pizza
was
Hut.
before.
Tiffany lamps over booths.
That's funny.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. So we are so happy to have y'all here, and I appreciate you for letting me twist your arm to be a part of the fun circus, the morning show circus, right?
Yes.
First and foremost, I believe we should congratulate Mr. Eric. As we announced on the show last week, he is Hyfield's latest. What's your job description?
Edition.
Addition, yes.
I've had to be careful
That's
with
good.
the Erics now that I've added him to a couple things.
Yeah.
Because I email him more in my job duties, but I have to make sure it's the right Eric with no .b.
I had to email them both today.
But then also Mel has changed hers.
I've
And I've had to make sure the right Mel's had it. And then
You're
today,
emailing yourself?
no,
That's what it sounds
Melly.
like.
I know,
I know, but-
Melly. So Vince's helper
Associate.
associate in the ops department. Yes, Melly, Melissa. So
she's
hers
gotten at least
recently
3
changed.
emails from me that should have been yours.
Yeah. So
It's
again,
chaotic.
It's the duplicate names, and it's just you just have to be very, making
Intentional.
sure. Thank you. Yeah, you have to very conscious,
Absolutely.
very aware of who you're saying. Not that it doesn't matter. Obviously, if it's not meant for you, hopefully somebody would say you sent this to the wrong person? Question mark or
Yeah.
what's this about? So you can then maybe resend the email to the correct person.
Eric's like, why do I have a Love's receipt for an oil change and they're asking for a money code? And then we realize it's not that Eric, it's that Eric.
Maybe we should an e-bender.
Well, maybe. So for those of you that don't know, Kayla, Eric's wife, is also on the show. Say hi, Kayla.
Hello.
And, well, it was for them to say hi to you, but we get it. And she is our Panther Fleet support.
Mhm.
I forget because we've been doing it so long now. So it's years.
Years.
Years. Have y'all been on the show before? I thought y'all had.
I have.
You have.
I don't think Eric has.
I don't think I have. I've been
Okay.
interviewed by you guys before and somebody else, but I don't think I've ever been on the
That was
podcast.
so long
So
ago.
many-
That
so
was
many
years
interviews.
ago.
Yeah.
We interviewed them out in California at
Yes.
Castaic.
Yep.
I don't
Oh,
think you
wow.
ever produced that.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
that
It was
happened.
weird, and I never found a way to put it together.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Wow, what a waste.
We did a good job.
I still have the
That
footage.
was
I
our
can probably
first
still put it
interview.
out.
Yeah.
Give it to Jerry. He could figure it out.
Jerry will figure it out.
We had 2 different cameras going.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was something new for
No,
us.
Jerry can do it. I mean, the good thing about
He
Jerry
does it
is,
with 6 cameras here.
yeah, not only that, he doesn't have a lot going on, so it's not a big deal for him.
Not that busy.
He can just whip it up real
Send
quick.
it over. I'll do it.
Luke Shire, circa 2008.
Maybe not that far back, but it feels like it.
How do you like it so far? So catch the audience up, Vince, real quick. What has been going on? Because as I understand it, even though you don't work in the same department, you've been working very closely with this man for a little while. So catch us up on what's been going on.
Yeah. So after we talked last time, and Eric didn't bring me coffee, I still haven't got coffee from Eric. So
Wow.
I am that close to recommending that we.
Tomorrow you're getting a box of Dunkin'.
am,
You ever
yeah,
had the
exactly.
catering box of Dunkin' coffee?
You better not forget the cream though, because that's important to me in coffee.
I'm gonna bring in the powder.
There you go.
Here's your coffee.
Here's your powder. Yep.
Nesquik, or not Nesquik. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he's been working with myself and Mel in the yard. He's helped us with a couple initial inspections and doing some minor repair stuff, small stuff.
Yeah.
Just getting reacquainted with APUs and the controllers, and learning the TCU and that controller. We've done some troubleshooting. We had to troubleshoot a rooftop AC today that wouldn't come on. So we did some troubleshooting on that today. So that's the kind of stuff he's working on us with, to understand what ops does with the truck when it comes back from a team. He'll get to work on a brand new truck here in the next couple of days as well, and see what we do for a brand new truck, how we get those prepped. But just getting him reacquainted with the equipment, so he's ready to go once he takes phone calls from people.
Because maybe
contractors.
most people don't know, Eric and Kayla both drove with Hyfield as contractors on the Panther
Yes,
side.
that's correct.
right.
So
They did.
I don't know that was
did.
mentioned so far.
They were also
So-
mentors.
And they were also mentors, yes.
Yep.
So he's familiar with the equipment, but it's been like 2 years since he's been
Actually on the road.
on the road
driving
and
every day.
utilizing
Yeah.
the equipment.
And
so
you lose some of that when you're
You
not
do
on the
lose
some
road
of that.
doing it all the time.
Yeah.
I know, we used to have Onan generators, and we quit buying them for years, and then we started getting them again with these tractors. And I know I was talking with you, maybe, or Jimmy the other day about the controller, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was you and I
Like,
talking about that. Yeah.
It's like it's been so many years since
Yeah.
I've used it. I used to be able to be like, oh no, you just got to beep up, and it's done. And now I'm like, I think if you scroll left, and you're like, it only goes up and down.
Yeah,
Crap.
exactly.
Well,
I've
and
never,
he's
I
not
never
done.
used an Onan before, so I
Yeah.
actually went through and pulled up the owner's manual in the Onan to walk myself through the different settings of it and trying to learn it with these tractors, because we have them now, so I need to understand them. And then we've got the Onans. The tractors have different bunk heater controllers and different inverters. So that's been a lot of fun to learn that stuff. And not being sarcastic, I actually enjoy learning that stuff. So that's where I'm trying to get Eric to. So when you call in, when contractors call in, they get Eric, he can walk them through. He has that knowledge to be able to walk them through and understand what's going on and help contractors troubleshoot issues they may be having with their truck.
And he doesn't know
Absolutely.
TCUs either.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's gonna be new.
I mean, we don't have those on the Panther side.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Are the tractors different intentionally, or is that just
We
how
have
it
a-
happened?
No, we have a new manufacturer for a couple of the sleepers, and so they are utilizing different parts and pieces, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's some of that. There's also some of generational changes. So like the SPAR heater, which we use, and we have tons of SPAR heaters. They changed a year and a half ago, 2 years
Yeah.
ago. So now it's still the same heater,
But the
but the
controller's
controller's
completely
different.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Oh,
it's a dial.
Yes, it's weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a dial.
It's a little more complex
yes.
than the other one that has 3 buttons, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
So, but it's still simple. But when you see all the different stuff, it's a little more complex. But when you understand it, it's like, oh, I just got to push the button, hold the button, and we're good.
Yeah.
So
I think it is simpler once you've learned it, but
Mhm.
if you haven't learned it, it's one of those things where sometimes someone shows you how to do something and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. But if they don't show you, it's like,
Right.
how
Yeah.
on earth?
there are way too many options, and
Yeah.
just ignore them. This is all
Carry-
you need.
Carrier, we have a few Carrier reefers in our fleet, not many, but a few. They changed their controller, so they've actually gone digital, and it's a lot nicer looking unit, and it actually works very well. But I remember the first time we got one of those, I was like, how on earth do you change
Yeah.
from Celsius to Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't figure it out. Come to find out, it's a setting that's locked in, and so they had to actually go to the Carrier dealership and unlock that feature so that we could bounce between the two. So
Gotcha.
there's some of that stuff. The new carrier generators have a new controller versus the old carrier generators, and so it's learning that one. Again, they're making it simpler, but if you've never done it and it's not like anything you've worked with before, it's a little bit of a head scratcher.
Some of the thermostats for the heaters too, or the air conditioner, digital.
There's a couple different kinds,
Which I know ours wasn't that way, or maybe it was, or a few of our trucks weren't.
We've had both.
Yeah. So.
But there's 2 different digital ones now.
Oh.
It's still the manual one.
Yep.
And the one in the tractors is a different style still.
Wow.
A couple of them. So.
Yeah.
That will be interesting for you to learn all of that. You'll be on the phone with a driver, and you'll have to ask them which one they have.
Can you text me a photo of what it looks like? That's what I'd say.
Well, and we've done our really diligently over the past couple of years of trying to, our past, I'd say 5 or 6 years, of trying to standardize the fleet as best we can. Supply chain issues and availability, like, for example, we had a bunch of Western Star trucks with Premier Custom Sleepers on them, a bunch of them. And the reason we have them is because it was really hard to get Freightliners for a while. Right. They were all sold out, and the Western Star dealership had like 50 chassis they had to get rid of. So we were able to take those, make them into expediters, and throw them in the fleet and work, which is kind of nice. We have enough of those that they are kind of a sub-fleet, right?
Sure.
Like, they are, because we have so many of one type of product, it actually does kind of make it easy.
Sure.
And we've identified problems. When all those trucks came out, they had a couple wiring issues that we had to deal with, but now most of those trucks have had that corrected. And so, like, it's just little things like that we've had to figure out throughout the years. But the past couple of years, I'd say since COVID, I guess 4 years, supply chain issues have been a nightmare.
They really have.
And so we used to be an all Coleman air conditioner fleet. Now we are Coleman and Dometic. The Espar thing, but now we have Espar and that brand?
Yes.
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 We used to be like only having the 2 power inverter options. Now we have 4. I want to say it's 4. The AA, the PCS are similar but a little different.
Yeah.
And then you've
The
got
Bolt.
the Bolt product, which has remained constant, thankfully. And then you've got the ARI product now, which is a different one altogether. So, I mean, like, we've tried.
Yeah.
It's just not been easy. And then, when a team gets a truck, sometimes they go through and they customize and they change things up. And so then we get it back. We got to kind of work with those changes. And sometimes it's not worth the money to fix because what they've done is good enough. And sometimes it's like, all right, we got to gut this out and redo it all over again. So it's been real interesting. So the past couple of years, supply chains have been really dictating what we've been doing and not doing, or how good we've been able to keep that standard fleet. But so far from your perspective, Eric, being out in the yard and working on all this, is it all flooding back to you? You're remembering everything? Are you overwhelmed, underwhelmed? Kind of, it's exactly what you figured it was going to be. It's completely different. Like, what are your impressions so far?
Learning. It's been cool. I think that, like he said, just having it come back and seeing the old. We started with the Comfort Pro APUs. I know that's most of our problems, so I'm trying to sink that in the most. But going over the truck, actually going for like doing the VIRs, seeing every aspect, even though it's not all going to apply to me, still helps.
Yeah.
We only worked with the Comfort Pro, I think, for like the first 6 months. The rest of it was with the Dynasys, so that's still a little bit more familiar for me. And going through and seeing the codes and learning the reefer system.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
So I got to see a code today, though, and how to run the codes because there was something wrong. There was a sensor code in there. But, yeah, it's certainly hasn't been overwhelming, but refreshing maybe is a good word.
That's a good word.
Yeah, I think refreshing, going over everything. I got to drive a truck today on the yard again for first time in a while.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was like like riding a bike. I was like, all right, this ain't too big.
Yeah. Got to
So
adjust those
nice.
mirrors and
Yeah.
get back into it.
Yeah, but it's been nice working with Mel and Vince both. Actually, they're good people to have around. They're both very knowledgeable at their job. I'll tell you that.
Aren't
Especially
they?
What they do specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's neat that I always thought it was neat that they've got like expertise in things. Like Mel's got the dish down, the DirecTV or whatever. She's not that Vince can't, but boy, she's the one lickety split. She knows it all.
And it's funny if you've ever been on one of her phone calls with
she's
our
troubleshooting?
provider. Not when she's talking to a team, but when she's talking to the supplier.
Oh yeah. Is she on first name basis?
Yes,
They don't know
they're
her?
they're like, oh hey Melissa, how's it going?
Yeah.
Like all this stuff.
Oh, they just
It's
know
like,
her. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. But because she even provides a lot of support once the trucks are out in the yard or out of the yard into the running the roads.
Yeah.
She still helps with a lot of that stuff. So yeah, she's on
She's very
good terms
proficient
with
in the
them.
satellite.
Very.
Yeah.
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 It's funny too because like I'm the one that found all that and set it all up. And recently I was doing a thing. We had I had to go out to Bolt. We had a satellite out there that was getting replaced, and so when you do that, you bring the receiver with you to make sure they actually fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it. I get the 771 code, and I'm like, crap. And so
Do
I'm
you
like,
text her or call her?
well, I reached out to her, and she was busy. I think she was doing a moving with the team. So I'm like, okay, so I can do this. And so I actually did go back to the paperwork, and I read every step, and I called and did everything the way they said to do it. And it's like, I did it, but I know it would have taken her 3 minutes. Took me 30.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
You could have called me too.
Do you know
wanted
the
best.
system?
I do know the
He wanted
system.
best.
Oh, wow.
We had to troubleshoot a. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Let me back up. Eric troubleshot a system by himself today,
Nice.
and he found the problem in that truck. And I said, "Was it a code 771?" He goes, "Yeah, 771's code I got."
You said you troubleshooted a rooftop AC today. Did you fix it?
No, it's
We
not
couldn't
something
fix
that we
it.
can fix.
No.
It has to go to a shop to get repaired. That's what I'm texting Patrick about right now. Actually.
Listen, we remember things at all kinds of crazy hours. I can't tell you how many times it's been like, all right, 9, 10 o'clock at night on a weekend. We just hung out for a few hours, maybe went out to dinner or something like this. We're saying our goodbyes. We're hugging each other's necks. And then it's like, oh, I forgot. And then we have a 35-minute conversation about something that it's like
Yep.
work-related. And it's like, okay, well, 35 minutes at 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday is not ideal, but there's so much going on. When you can remember something, sometimes you just got to power through it.
Yeah.
It's the truck you're taking tomorrow.
Is it the truck I'm taking tomorrow? Is it the dash air or the rooftop?
Rooftop.
Oh, good. I won't be
Dash
using
air
it.
works
Rooftop
great.
and the coax into the satellite receiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a big deal. Cool. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Kayla, how's it feel to you? Like, A, he's been out of the house for a few hours. But B, like, are you excited about this transition? Are you nervous?
A little bit of both, I think. I dread the massive learning curve.
Yeah.
And I kind of dread that for him. I remember starting with Kelly and thinking, how am I ever going to get all of this? It's so much. I don't think I realized how much it was, and I'm sitting back waiting for him to have that moment where it's like, oh my gosh, it's so much information to know. But I'm actually really excited for us to work together. I send so many messages to Dawn and Jimmy saying, what's this truck doing? Are they actually out of service for truck repair? And I'm excited to just have him around the corner and get all the information firsthand.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go like, hey, what's wrong with so-and-so?
Exactly.
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 Yeah, because that's something we do. Like we've learned over the years. It used to be, you see a truck that's not moved for 3 or 4 days, and it's like, let's reach out to the team, find out what's going on. But as we've grown and gotten bigger and all this stuff, it's kind of we've learned like maybe we shouldn't do that. Let's talk to maintenance first, because if they're at a shop waiting for their truck to get fixed, and then we call them going, why aren't you moving? It's a little salt in the wound, right?
Yeah.
So being able now to kind of get around that and see what's happening, and Jimmy's done a great job, and Don have done a great job of identifying shops that get us in fast, to get us out fast, and being able to figure out, hopefully you don't sit for 5 or 6 days, but it still happens occasionally.
I like that staff started by putting Eric in ops, just so, again, he can get that refresher, but to see the parts and pieces again, hands-on. I know you guys are doing this for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it might be, before he then moves, more into an office role. And I think that's a great thing to just have that hands-on.
Well, we don't do him or the fleet any a great service by throwing him out there without any knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Because one, if the contractor is calling and saying and has a problem that Eric can't address or doesn't know where to go to address the problem, might need a solution right now. I mean, I have
Sure.
a lot of time for Eric to research it.
Yeah.
So we don't do them we do them an injustice by not having him knowledgeable
Sure.
and throwing Eric to the wolves like that without him having those resources or
Yeah.
understanding where they're at. It does him an injustice, since nobody benefits.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Hyfield as a whole doesn't benefit from
Sure.
not providing Eric with the tools that he needs to do his job.
And I wasn't saying that we wouldn't have done that. That wasn't what I was trying to say. Yeah,
No,
I think it's great. I love it.
Well, and some stuff too, you learn, you perfect, you do, like, there are things that we did when we first started that I would not do again.
Sure.
I can think of several things that we
it's all
did when
part
we
of growing.
first brought people on that I would not do again. You think I would still have Kelly working for it? I'm kidding.
She just turned this podcast off.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that comes with the growth of the company too. You know, Melissa and I started, we had like a day of here's Trello, and they were off on vacation. When I say they, I mean Eric, Patrick, Mel, and Donnie were off on vacation. That was planned before we were coming on. That was planned for us to be here for those 3 weeks, and we didn't have that introduction to what was going on. It was, they were available by phone.
Kelly was
we
too.
could work through it. Kelly was too. So it worked out, but we didn't have that. I still want to get Jimmy up here to watch us do an initial inspection, or actually to walk through an initial inspection with us, more than just seeing it on paper. Actually do it. I'd love to have Don in the yard to do it as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I think that would be great. I mean, it's like, so they're similar to y'all. Kelly and Jimmy have come up here and done this for weeks on, while Eric and I were like in Italy, for example, years back 2019. They came up here and spent several weeks up here. When my mom passed away, they spent several weeks up here. So like, they definitely have done the job. They just haven't seen the level that y'all do it now. It's
Sure.
It's a totally different
and
animal
we're
than it was.
a bigger fleet, a much larger fleet than it was then. Yeah.
And the turn times and being able to juggle shops.
Sure.
It's a very different situation than it used to be.
I love the growth.
Yeah, it's great.
I've seen it grow
great.
just in the 2 years we've been here.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, the growth is, it's been kind of weird the past couple of years. We haven't really added any trucks. It's kind of been stagnant. We have a fleet that's going from a brand new fleet to a little bit of an aging fleet. So it's exciting now that we're starting to actually buy trucks again. So Vince and I, we picked up a truck this morning. Well, tried to. I know Vince is like I've enjoyed all this, not putting trucks on.
Yeah.
But we picked up a truck, or tried to pick up a truck up this morning, and had a little air leak on it. So they're going to fix the air leak, and then we're going to get it back. But
that truck's ready, by the way. Tyler
is it
sent
ready?
me a text.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've asked you a few times. Do you have an expectation on the amount of trucks you want to get to yet?
Wait. We're interviewing you.
Yeah,
Hold on.
you've
I'm
never-
just kidding.
You've never had an expectation. You've always said it's open. You've never had. Are you there yet or no?
No, I don't.
You have a number yet?
I think we're in an interesting phase where I think a lot of our growth, we're still going to have some on the expedite side, absolutely straight truck side, but really we see tractors, and I've talked about it on this show before, which I'm sure you've seen. We definitely see tractors as a big growth opportunity for us, right? It's an area that we are just dabbling in. We have 6 tractors. It's not much, but we've seen amazing things come from that tractor program. And Kayla, you actually run that tractor program.
I'm super excited about it.
And so I would like to see, something like 50 tractors in the next 5 years, which doesn't sound, it sounds like a lot, but it's 10 tractors a year. That's not a ton. Eventually it'll be a decent size, but I've got a friend of mine who runs a tractor fleet, and he's getting like 4 tractors a month.
Wow.
And I'm like, but he's got a huge fleet. But still, it's like, and it's his bread and butter. It's what he does. So certainly, I think that's the side that I really want to see grow. I mean, we have a 120 something truck, straight truck fleet.
Yeah.
So you're gonna maintain that, but grow the other.
Exactly, and we may grow that to about 150 straight trucks. I could see that being something over the next, between now and 2030, for example.
Okay.
You also have to consider that some of those new straight trucks are going to replace the older
Absolutely.
ones.
Sure.
So we're not always gaining at this present moment in time.
Yeah, there's a little bit of ebb and flow.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yep. So it's an interesting time to be in the industry. I like what we're doing. I am very excited about the tractor market and just branching into that while still staying the leader, I think, in expedite. So being able to balance all that, it's a lot of fun. And, I'm glad to be able to work with all the fine people you see here and yourself. Like, having the staff that we have makes this fun.
Yeah.
It makes it stressful. It makes it difficult.
Sure.
But it makes it fun.
Yeah.
Being able to surround myself with people who have the expectations and the standards that I do, which is a lot of fun. A lot of people know Eric and I from like the trade shows or something, and that's about it. And we are definitely the let's party and have fun at these events, and let's get to know each other on a social level, and everything's very laid back. And then our staff sees a totally different side of us, and you're gonna find out. Like, it's like, I think y'all would all argue that I'm a tough person to work for. Yes.
All I hear is crickets in my headphones.
I've said it before.
No, he's got it. Yeah.
You are difficult to work for if you don't understand what your expectations are. If you understand your expectations, then and you're willing to meet those expectations, then you have no problem.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't make the job easier as far as the actual work, because Eric witnessed it today. We talked about a plan this morning, the three of us, me, you, and Mel, and that plan, some of it got accomplished. Some went by the wayside because things changed. It's always fluid. So if you're able to be fluid like that and make those changes, great. The expectations didn't change. It wasn't like we had to meet a higher goal. It was, we need to get this particular truck, turned faster than we had planned to originally for whatever reason. So we have to now pivot from something else to that truck. So that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
But the quality of work on that truck doesn't change. It still needs to be at that standard. So you're challenging to work for because you do have really high expectations for your staff. But if you're willing to meet those expectations, no problem.
Yeah.
You're not difficult in the sense that you're inappropriate or aggressive or demeaning. You treat us with the same respect that you want us to treat you or any of our contractors. So in that sense, it's not like every time I see the phone ring with your name's on it, I go, oh, not this again.
Yeah.
Even though it might be a change in the plan that we weren't planning for. Okay, we'll pivot and take care of business.
Yeah.
I would say that you are you're a different person in the aspect that you rise above in every single scenario that I've ever seen you be in. And I'll be describing a situation like this driver was having this challenge and he's like, well, this is the answer. And I'm like, but that's not what Patrick would do. Patrick always, you and Eric always rise above in situations, and it makes me make different decisions when handling the fleet. Because I try to do what I know you would want done, and represent the company in a way that you would want it represented.
We talk about that all the time, though, internally as girls on this, us ladies in the staff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'll do we'll have our chat, and then I'm like, what would Patrick do?
Yes.
And then we'll all just kind of stop, and I'm like, I think X, Y, and Z. Someone else might say yes or no. What about this plus yours, or whatever it might be. But sometimes if it's like, you don't have to bother you all the time, but it's just like, okay, we're representing Eric and Patrick's company, Hyfield. So what would they do? What has been done in the past, especially if you're on vacation, right? That's usually when it comes up.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
what would they do? Let's make an executive decision as staff, and we'll go it in solidarity. And okay, we made the decision, but what would it have been?
Well,
So, and I agree, you have a high standard for your fleet, but I think that's known in the community of trucking, or at least expediting, and that's why people want to come here.
Well, I think I was gonna say, I think that's part of having the great staff we have is. Y'all have shown time and time again that y'all do at least try to get to the ethos of why we're making a decision so that you can make a good decision based on that situation. And the thing that we always do is, because Eric and I do love to travel, that is, no one's hiding that. And so we do frequently, a few times a year, travel, and it's usually out of country, sometimes it's out of continent, sometimes it's out of hemisphere. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we are not always the most accessible people in the world,
Sure.
which is only possible because of the great staff we have. But I think, too, one thing Eric and I made the commitment of is when we're gone and y'all make a decision, we will stand by it even if we don't like it.
Right.
Even if at the end of the day it's like, okay, let me tell you why I wouldn't do this.
Yes.
We'll have that conversation, but we're
Sure.
still going to stand behind the decision you made.
Yeah.
And I think that empowers y'all to make decisions knowing there's no retribution coming.
To be clear, when a mistake is made, you're not necessarily all smiles and Cheerios.
I get it.
Another phrase I wanted to use, but and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just want the viewing public to know that when a mistake is made, we know a mistake was made, and there is a correction. Right? It's not a pleasant conversation necessarily when a mistake is made, depending on the severity of the mistake. Correct. Right? So it's not like we're all just singing "Kumbaya" around a campfire all the time. We do when mistakes are made, we do hear about it, and it's not an easy conversation. However, when the corrections are made, it's done.
Yeah.
We move on. Yeah. Right? We correct the mistake, we learn from it, and we move on. And unless it's made again, it's done.
Yeah.
You know.
I get that.
So there is the disciplinarian side to Eric and Patrick.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that, a lot of people, like a lot of what we talked about is operational stuff, which I handle. That being said, the minute you file something and you don't capitalize it correctly in the system and you forget something, you have a whole new wrath coming, and it's not from Patrick. It is from this kind, gentle soul right here.
Or you leave a truck number off of a receipt.
Oh. Sinners in the hand of an angry God. Why would you ever leave a truck number off of a receipt? That is just.
That's
better
funny.
be minding your P's and Q's. I'm telling you, you're going to get some emails from
Yes,
Eric.
you are.
Did not file this right.
Oh,
This is not labeled right.
I'm like Jimmy told me. To
It's
do it
all
this way.
caps all the
Oh, my
time.
gosh. You know what? And you know what's
I like that. Pass the buck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
right.
we go.
Do you know what's funny is I hate the way he files stuff, and I typically will send him things and say, you file it, because I can't stand that level of tediousness. Exactly. That being said, when I'm looking for something online on our big drive,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is so easy to navigate, so easy to find stuff, and it's a huge database. How many gigabytes is it, Jerry?
Used or available?
That we're using right now.
Using is, we're just under a terabyte.
Okay, just under a terabyte. That's a lot of data.
Yeah.
That's a lot of PDFs.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Word files. So it is really awesome to have that available and easy to navigate. But whew, that tediousness. Oh, you're gonna find out.
Yeah.
It's really super helpful.
It's the
So
other half.
you get to endure that. That being said, welcome to the fleet. Thank y'all so
Welcome.
much for being so generous to sit down with us, and we look forward to doing this again with y'all. But I know you've got a heart out, and I'm not going to keep you from that. So
I'm excited.
thank you again. Everybody
Thank
stay with us for a couple seconds. We're going to do a little set change, costume change, probably a restroom break. Probably.
Yeah.
And then we'll be right back after these brief messages from our sponsor, Lokeshire Expediting Adventures.
Oh.
Take it away, Lokeshire.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I thought we were already recording.
We are.
Oh.
Okay. And action.
Hey, Mel and Vince here from Luke Shire Expediting Adventures. We want to say hello here in this Outer Belt recording. Those guys do some amazing work. It's really entertaining and funny. Oh my goodness, so
It
funny.
is very.
Oh, Patrick, Jerry, Eric. I'm in it too. Buttermilk and Chili, part of the Outer Belt. So check it out if you haven't. I mean, if you're watching this, you have.
I know,
guess.
right?
Maybe Jerry will post this on our channel too. So
Wouldn't that be great?
it would be awesome.
It'd be like a double cross
It'd be
post.
double cross
2
post.
for 1.
Yeah, or maybe Jerry will post it on other YouTubers' channels too to push. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
We haven't
but
done anything in a hot
we
moment.
have. We've been so busy with work.
I know.
mean,
And we're not on the road anymore.
come
and
on,
it's hard to talk
staff,
about the
and they put
lifestyle.
you on work.
But what I'm going to say, though, is Luke Shire's information on our channel is still relevant.
Still relevant, certainly.
To
Yeah.
today's expediting world.
Truly is.
So, and that's why our channel's still up.
That's
so
why
if
it's
you
still up.
haven't
We left it
checked
up.
us out, go back and watch our stuff, even if it's from 2-3 years. Well, it's gonna be over 2 years
It
ago.
would
'cause
be
we
over
have to-
2 years ago.
3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Still watch it. It's still very
Still
relevant.
Fun stuff. Still fun stuff.
So check us out, and I still respond to comments. I get one probably every couple weeks.
Yeah.
And I still
we're
give
still
response.
around. We're still in the expedite industry.
We are.
So,
We are.
Check us
So,
out.
anyways, back to your regular scheduled show.
Thanks, Outer Belt, for letting us squeeze in here a little bit.
What else?
Don't leave money on the table.
Never.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it. All right, bye.
Good night.
Oh, that's not the right sound. That was a great ad. Thank you so much, Luke Shire, for that. For sponsoring our video today. It's great to be here. It's a great day to be alive. Did you know that we had rice cooking?
Are you with us today? What?
What?
I thought you said rice-a-roni.
I did.
Oh, you did?
No.
It is a great day to be alive.
And I got rice cooking. Was it?
In the microwave.
Does he really say that?
I think so.
He microwaves his. That's disgusting. No self-respect in Southerner microwaves. I mean, we do, but
His
I'm not
son just
self-respecting.
covered one of his songs. I saw that on my Facebook scroll.
Yeah,
Like to listen to his son's voice, see if they're similar.
it could be.
For those of you who don't know who we're talking about,
No
Travis.
one's listening to us.
Travis
This is
Tritt.
all peached.
Well, I'm just sharing. Maybe it's not peached.
Well, when you get ready to talk and your microphone is 6 inches above your face, it's hard to do it.
Well, we're amateurs around here.
Amateurs, amateur, like an auteur, just am.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody. We're so happy you're here with us. What a great advertisement for our sponsor. It was amazing. So we did lose Eric. He has an engagement. Not engagement. That's
Eric Bender.
Eric Ben.
Because the other Eric's sitting next
That's
to
right.
me.
Eric Bendner is left. He has a poker tournament that he's in. We wish him the best of success. But he left us with his bride. And not bride, is it bride?
Yeah, it is.
After you're married, you still consider
Absolutely
bride.
a bride.
Yeah.
It's let's be honest, it's the better half, right? Like we got the prize.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She's not learning anything.
No.
She's already there. We don't have this. Ain't no amateur. This is like 2 years of professionalism.
Professional. Yes.
Oh, she does good too.
I'm really glad you're here, because
you.
as our listening audience knows, our viewing audience listening, if you're catching us on the YouTube or on one of the podcast apps, Eric and I have recently taken up motorcycle riding.
I've been super excited for you guys.
I know, and you were the one that talked us into the Harley Davidson course.
I know. I feel bad about that now. Hindsight 2020.
Ooh, set you up for that one.
I still had a great time at mine. I do not regret mine.
Maybe different trainers.
I don't know.
It was definitely different trainers. Well, I say that because you had 2 males, right?
I had 2 males.
So we had a male and a female, but this is 2024, so there's been time for.
I want to say I took mine in 2020, like prime COVID time.
Why would you take your?
How is it even allowed?
You're outside.
Well, you do have a helmet on,
the
full
government
face,
didn't care.
so you can't.
That's true.
And they said you had to wear gloves. They did get us. It was all COVID compliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Did they give you pizza?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Look, we've been very hard on Harley Davidson in that horrible class they put us through, and those people who half the class failed. It's
That's
unacceptable.
crazy.
That's
and
not
one of the ladies fell over her own motorcycle.
one of the
Oh,
ladies
no.
who was teaching the course.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, not one of the ladies teaching the course. The lady
Yeah,
teaching
the
the
lady.
course.
It was like
Yeah.
watching a disaster happen
It
right
was.
in front of you, and you can't do anything about
Yeah, it was very slow motion.
Oh no.
And I did feel bad for her. She's 74 years old out there still teaching people how to ride. Well, going through the motions.
Yes.
But she was very kind and polite. I actually liked her a lot. I think she was fine. He was less than.
Did he drive a big BMW? Like a big
no,
BMW?
he drove like a little Honda Civic.
No, we don't. We didn't have the same people.
Yeah, definitely not. But where I have to give Harley mad props is on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. They provided pizza from a local pizzeria, I believe is how they call that.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. What did Eric? It was really
Yeah.
good.
Nice.
You guys got also hammered by some bad weather.
No, I don't. The weather wasn't
the weather
worst.
was.
It could have been
yeah.
a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. They were talking about so like Columbus has been in a
And
area.
honestly, to tell you the truth, we can tell the difference between our sweat running down our body and the rain running down our body.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's true. Because it was raining, but it was in the low 70s, and so when you put that rain gear on, and it doesn't breathe, and you're already nervous because it's literally like so many people I know go get their permit, they get a motorcycle, they ride a little bit, then they take the course,
Right.
and they get the test at the end of it and whatever. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
This is literally my first time ever turning a bike on. Like Eric and I were talking the other day. I was so dumb. You put the key in, you twist, and it fires up, right? No, not on a motorcycle.
It doesn't work that
like,
way.
I
Yeah.
literally did not know it was a push-to-start situation until I was on the bike having the discuss. Like,
Yeah.
that's how green I was, right?
Yeah.
I knew foot brake was rear, and the brake up there, up on the handlebars was for the front brake because I have ridden bicycles my whole life. Even though I'm fat, I love riding a bicycle. We have these really cool electric bicycles that are big fat tire off-road bikes, and they're a lot of fun. So I had some experience with that, but I had no idea what like pulling the clutch was going to be like. The friction zone, which you use and it doesn't tear up your clutch, was foreign to me. When they're like, "Oh no, you use that. That's how you maintain." It's like, what? You destroy your clutch? And they're no, not on a bike. It doesn't work that way. So like, lots of stuff. So we were green on it. And my point is what?
Pizza. That's where you're going with it.
So they had great pizza. No.
You needed the Hyfield of motorcycle training.
I
Not
needed,
that we do a lot of training, but we set people up who are green for a good opportunity.
You're right. You're right. And I did not get that.
Thank you, Kayla. I want to personally thank you for recommending to take the Harley Davidson class because you haven't dealt with the
Retribution.
the aftermath like Buttermilk and I have. So
The,
thank you
and
so
Jerry,
much.
Jerry's
got it too.
We call that the Pharaoh storm. No, but we actually had a great time today. Eric and I did get away for a little bit. We went up to the motorcycle store. That's where they sell motorcycles. And I'm so glad we did. So I had my idea in my head, had an idea of what motorcycle I want to buy. And I still want to buy it. And what's crazy is back in 2015, no, 11, 10, 9.
8,
No.
7,
9. 2008.
Pick one.
No, before that.
Okay.
Let's go with
Way
8.
back in the 2000s.
So
8
2006. So 2006.
Wow.
When I was interested in riding a motorcycle, I got on this bike. It was brand new, and I really liked it. I didn't ride it, didn't turn it on. I was inside the dealership, yada yada, and it's still today the same bike I want to get on. Like I've gone back and I've gotten back on it. I've actually tried a couple others. That are like, if you like this bike, you might like these other ones. I don't like the other ones. I still really just like this one, so I'm very happy that that's kind of how I felt. Now, who knows? When I buy it and I ride it, I may change my mind. But for now,
sure.
it's the one that definitely feels right to me. So Eric has an idea. We kind of talked to him about the bikes and what he was looking for in a bike, and we all kind of decided a Honda Rebel. Made sense. It's what he likes. It's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, they do look cool.
It looks like a nice bike. We thought about what is the one you and Eric had? Not
The
that
Grom?
Eric. The Grom.
Love Groms.
Thought about the Groms, but even Eric was like, I'm going to break this thing if I hit a bump too hard. So we did say the Rebel, and he had gotten on one before for like 2 seconds and then got back off or whatever. And I actually watched a video on YouTube, and they talked about how unergonomic a Rebel is and how it can lead to kind of back pain and stuff because of how you sit. And so I was like, Now, he's already talked to someone on, I was going to say Craigslist. They don't have that anymore, do they?
It's still out there.
Is it?
It is.
Well, he found one on Marketplace that he wanted to go talk to somebody about, used one. And it's an hour and a half away or so. So I said, before we go out there, I just watched this video. I'm a little nervous. Let's go to the dealership and just have you sit on it. He agreed. So we go out there. He sits on it, and we do that thing where, like, I've got the tire between my legs, and I'm holding the handlebars here. And so he sits on it.
I haven't seen any of these videos you're talking about.
Correct.
So everything I'm saying to this afternoon or whenever.
Correct. Is your thought.
Is my thought without watching somebody else's opinion.
I did not. I didn't show him any of those videos. He's seen videos on my bike, the one I'm interested in, because I've seen like 17 of them. But
and so many that I would get confused anyway.
Yeah, but none of the Rebel. Because it was such a known, like, well, of course he's going to get a Rebel. Like, it was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, we just all figured that was what it was. So we stand there, and I got the thing, and I'm holding the bike, so he's got both feet off it, and he's sitting there, and he's like, this is pretty comfortable. And I noticed his hands were, like, on the fuel tank. They weren't touching the handlebars. And I was like, do me a favor. Reach up and grab the handlebars.
Yeah, you got
And
to.
so he does. And I'm like, okay, grab the clutch. Like, do the clutch thing. Shift through a couple gears, which you did. Grab the throttle. You made the point that the throttle was a little loose on that one.
Which was a big problem with
Which
the
was a big problem
one
with
I
the
took at Harley.
Yep. And so we were kind of like playing around, and he's holding him. I said, okay, we're riding for an hour to 2 hours. How do you feel? And he's like, absolutely not. Like, already within a few minutes of, not even minutes, a minute, 2 minutes of sitting there, you were like, my back is already bothering me. And I said, why? And he said, because I'm having to lean forward to ride.
Mm-hmm.
And a Rebel is not a sport bike. It's not where your feet are behind you,
Right.
and it is a cruiser, but you lean forward. It's
But
very...
your feet are forward too.
No,
Well, I mean,
no, they're kind of mid.
Are they mid?
They're mid
But
on a Rebel.
it's still an uncomfortable.
It's an odd...
If they were behind you and you're kind of laying forward, a different
like a
story.
sport bike
Yeah,
is. Yeah, sport
bike,
bikes, ninjas, and all that stuff. That's how they do. But this was just a kind of a weird scenario. And so he was like, I don't really like it. And I thought, like, oh, cool, because I saw the video, and I kind of had a feeling that might be an issue. So then we walked. What did we sit on, like 10 different bikes?
A number of them.
Oh, it was
I
a
got them all
lot.
mixed up.
Yeah, it was a lot.
All I remember is the one I liked.
Yeah.
After that.
There were two of them you liked. One was a V-Star by Yamaha.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great little bike.
Yeah.
It doesn't have ABS. It has a carburetor. It doesn't have fuel injection.
Yeah.
And I know from just back in the day, carbureted vehicles, what a pain.
They were great before we knew what fuel injection was.
Correct. Yeah. And I'm flying, get my private pilot's license, and a carbureted airplane is a nightmare compared to a fuel injected airplane. And I'm just like thinking, oh my gosh, like I don't want a carburetor. I talked to Jimmy, our maintenance guy, who Eric's going to be working with, and he talked about how much he loves that his bike's fuel injected because he remembers the old carburetors, and you'd get into curves and the fuel would slosh to the side of the little
The bowl.
Yeah.
and you would just lose power until you straighten back up, and then it would work again. And then I'm also thinking, like, carburetors are so easy to flood.
Yep.
And what if you stall and you're trying to do a quick start back up again? And it's just so. Although it fit him, it was like, let's keep looking. We'll keep this in mind because if at the end of the day this is the one you're most comfortable with, then that's it.
Yeah.
But let's keep looking. And he actually got on one that I literally told him to get on as a joke, as a gag. I knew it was too big of a bike. He wasn't going to like it. But I'm like, get on it and try it and tell me what you think. It was a Kawasaki Vulcan S. I think it's sport or whatever.
Pretty bikes.
Yeah, beautiful bike. But I'm like, he's not going to like it. He gets on this thing. He grabs it. He's like, this is kind of comfortable. And I was like, what? I was completely shocked. I'm like, there's no way in the world you're going to like this bike. We do the thing. I hold it up. He puts his foot on there. The shifter's a little in a weird spot, but he's like, I think I can learn to work around it. And he ends up really liking the bike. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I literally asked you to get on it as a gag because I didn't think you would like it. And that's the one
fine.
that
It's a good thing you didn't say that.
I know. Well,
The funny thing is, as soon as he gets on the bike and he puts his feet in the pedal and the pegs and his hands on the handlebar, magically sunglasses and a bandana appear on his head.
That is true.
It's just perfect.
that is true.
Just perfect.
I did find one that was that. So there was some sports bikes there, and Kawasaki has one. It's like a black bike that slowly goes into this beautiful emerald green. It's a
I love green.
gorgeous bike.
Those are pretty over
It's-
there.
it
I
is-
remember
it
seeing
is
those
a-
last
well,
time we went.
It's a dark emerald green. It's just
It's nothing like Kawasaki green. It's like emerald green.
yes. So
I drool over it.
if you know motorcycles, Kawasaki has a green that's Kawasaki
It's
green.
almost like lime.
It's like a lime green. It's very bright. Think about a lime scooter.
right.
It's that color
It
green.
is.
And so I'm like, well, let me just look real quick. And of course, they've never made the bike he wants in that color scheme. And
It would be a collectible.
it would be a collectible. But I did find you a lime green one, a Kawasaki green one, and you were like,
No.
no. He's like, he literally was like, he's like, I'll take black. Like, he's like, I'm not doing that. I said, you know what? Like, if you get a black one, we can always get it painted. You know what I mean? Like if he falls in love with it and decides that's his forever bike,
Yeah.
you can get it painted.
Take it to a bike show and they'll do like pinstriping and make it yours.
Yeah.
Draw all over it.
So I'm
excited for y'all.
Yeah, I'm excited he found one he likes. I looked him up online on Marketplace. There's several of them around, all in the price, right around the price point you were looking at. And so, and this is even one step better. It actually is front and rear is ABS, not just the front like the Rebel is. Yeah, they're cool bikes. I'm very excited.
I'm a little more motivated now than I was a week ago.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm glad that you got him sitting on the Rebel because that's all I've been hearing for like 30 days now is Rebel, which is a cool bike.
It's a very cool bike.
But to actually sit on it and feel maybe that it was uncomfortable.
Yep. You have to remember, most people buy motorcycles and spend a lot of money customizing those type of settings, like new handlebars.
Sure.
Yeah.
New foot pegs that are adjusted and all of that. I mean,
well, that's something I haven't told you is you, Eric Hyfield, is I actually have done some research on the bike because I don't know enough about it. And I'm like, I don't want you buying a crotch rocket that's going to like be too much bike, right? Because there is a thing where like if you're learning to ride, you don't want a bike that's crazy fast because you'll just end up killing yourself on accident. You know, you're like in a situation where you got to move quickly and you just go way too quick and you overcompensate.
A wheelie.
Exactly.
End up flying off the back.
Correct. So we don't want that, but you also don't want it so docile that you get bored on it.
Sure.
You want something kind of in between. So I'm like, let me see if this is even a good beginner bike. It may not be. And every review is like, the best beginner bike you can get for the money. Like, it's just
really
tons and tons. Yeah, tons and tons of stuff. That engine apparently, if you're like easy on the throttle, it's actually quite fun and it's, but you really have to lean into it. But if you do really get into it, it's quite sporty. And there's a lot of people talking about how much fun it is when you get into those higher RPMs and really wind it up.
I'm trying to imagine if I want to go fast, I can lean forward and get into it.
Well, it's not a bicycle. You've got RPMs and gasoline. You just twist that throttle.
The other way.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I tell you? Slow it down.
Can I tell you how many times I did that at the Harley Davidson course? And I'm like, why would I go fast? Oh, that's right. That is going to be a hard. That's going to be.
You'll get used to it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny. I learned this a couple weeks ago, listening to another podcast on motorcycles, where somebody asked the question. You know, we go forward to go forward. You think you'd roll the throttle forward to go forward. And the reason you don't is because when you're reaching for the brake on the right side, on the throttle hand, you're reaching for the brake, you're pushing the throttle forward possibly. If the throttle went forward to go forward, to go faster, you would be going faster potentially when you went to reach for the brake.
Yeah.
So, and that makes perfect sense that you don't want to do that.
Absolutely. In the Harley course, you know, they did talk about like rolling the throttle forward, slow it down, and then grabbing the brake.
Yeah.
And I find myself several times actually moving my hand and not really moving the throttle.
Yeah.
Like it's something I have to consciously think about and learn. And of course, that's a Harley bike with different electronics and stuff, so it's going to be different. And I'm hoping the Suzuki that I end up with is going to be a little easier. But so you know, this is one of those things. It kind of reminds me of the airplane. Like those of you been listening to the show know, I'm 2 years into getting my private license, and I'm a month away. Like it's so close. If I could just get the time in the air. There's been so many like ups and downs and days I get back to the airport and I'm so discouraged because I did such a terrible job. And then a day later you go and do it again. And it's like, wow, because I did such a bad job yesterday, I thought about some of these things and I did so much better today.
Right.
And so just like the ups and downs of that to where now I'm pretty good. Like when I've got over 100 hours flying. When I go fly now, I feel pretty confident what I'm doing, and I'm not slamming the airplane into the runway and bouncing and jumping off, and we're not porpoising as when you hit in your back gear, then your front gear, then your back gear, then your front gear. You know what I mean? Like bouncing back and forth. I'm not doing any of that stuff anymore. It is nice. Getting to this level took over 100 hours in the air to be this comfortable.
Right.
And I know the motorcycle's going to be the same thing. Just repetition, and you know, we talked about it last night. Actually, getting the smooth clutch down and trying to figure out all that stuff. And
I told them last night, Kayla, that my plan for them when they do get bikes is to go to the school down the street from our house in the parking lot and do nothing for the first little bit of start and stop. Start in first gear, get the bike going, get to second gear, stop, put it back in first gear, and start again, just to learn
That's
the
what I did.
friction zone. And that's what I did too.
We went down to, we live right beside a YMCA, and we went after hours because ours is only open till like 6.
Well, we were going to go during school hours. It's an elementary school. I mean, they have to learn to dodge the kids too.
I got
But
practice swerving around.
exactly, emergency stopping, swerving.
Yeah, well, you did tell us to get a Kawasaki dirt bike, right? So
I
we can
did.
get up on the playground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the
There
sand.
you go.
Yeah.
So you went to a
So,
YMCA.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. And we just did that for hours.
Yeah.
For multiple days in a row.
Yeah.
And eventually you just get comfortable with it, and you'll get to a point where you don't think about the throttle.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens when you want to go.
Kind of wish I would have did that before the class.
Yeah.
Well, that would have
But
been
then how would I have ever known?
and that's part of it too. Is you spend the money on the class, and if you don't like it, you haven't spent thousands of dollars on a motorcycle that now you got to figure out what to do with.
Yeah.
So that's kind of part of it. But you now have the basics from the class, and not someone who's not a trained professional, because these instructors go through a lot of training. They have to have ridden for so long. They have to go through these classes, plus additional classes for the trainers, and then they have to also show that they know how to do this and can teach the class. So it's not like it's some guy who, I've been riding for 5 years, and come on, let's do this training. No, they go through a lot. So you learn from a professional who knows how to teach, versus some schlub like me who gets out there and goes, well, just hold the clutch slowly and grab the accelerator, and you whiskey throttle, and
Also, I like that I know what the goals are.
Sure.
Like to pass the test
Right.
Yeah.
and get the endorsement.
Yeah.
I know the 3 things I'm going to have to know how to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I can practice those on my own now.
Yep.
Kayla, did you ever ride dirt bikes growing up?
No. I
No?
tried it one time, and I whiskey throttled it really bad. Right into a
So is whiskey throttle when you just crank right back?
Yes. Whiskey
Yeah,
throttles,
and-
you grab
and it
way
comes
too
up
much
off the
throttle.
ground.
Yep.
and you go backwards.
Yep.
So you didn't do trail riding or anything off road?
No. We did 4-wheelers, not dirt
Four-wheelers,
bikes.
not dirt bikes.
And then because of that situation, I've always really wanted to ride motorcycles. I like them, but I was scared when we first started.
Sure.
I was scared to whiskey throttle it. That's what led us to Groms, because Eric was like, you're not going to whiskey throttle and hurt yourself on a Grom. There's
Right.
not enough power. So I needed the stepping stones in bikes. I did the Grom, then I did the Sportster, then I have the bike that I have now. But I needed the stepping stones because I was afraid of the power.
Sure, makes sense.
I think that's important to start on a lower power bike and work your way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Certainly.
Then when you get bored, then you're like, okay, now it's
Yeah.
time to
Now
upgrade.
it's time for something better.
Well, and that's what I think I like. Like if you look at a 300 Rebel, what the bike weighs, how much power it produces, and then you look at like the Kawasaki Eric's looking at, it's 200 pounds heavier. It's a bigger engine,
right.
but it's 200 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it's compensating. It's still, your weight to power threshold is about the same. So the motorcycle I'm looking at is 200 pounds heavier than the one Eric's looking at.
Sure.
So it's a little more powerful than that. But again, all 3 of those are about the same power to weight
Right.
ratio. None of these bikes are doing wheelies.
And then when you look
Yeah.
at my bike,
And you look at
it's
your bike,
200
and
pounds
it's,
heavier.
and it's,
than
and
what
it's
you're looking at.
500% more powerful.
It is. It's a lot. It's
Yours
a lot
is a
more powerful.
machine.
Yeah.
I look at yours and I'm like,
Do you know
Slap
though?
me.
I've
If you
never.
look at Kayla's bike,
Yeah,
Kayla's bike is beautiful. It's a beautiful bike.
I've never
Thank
seen
you.
it.
I'm so
It's
I'm
this-
so
it's the shark
envious.
gray matte. The cars are now coming out with that
Yeah.
military shark gray color.
Yeah.
Hers is that. Hers and
It's
Eric
a-
both have matching sets.
Yeah, we have a his and her bike. I
Yeah.
like that.
They're
one.
Their
very
bikes
nice.
are beautiful. Yeah.
They're beautiful. Vince's bike, I've never felt though jumps off the line. Like I've never felt. Yes, I do know his has power, but I've never felt like it's had any kind of like that kind of power. Like,
But-
and maybe that's
yeah,
the way
but
he's driving it.
It
Well,
is.
But like
Now,
even
but-
when he gets excited when he kills it,
Yeah.
and he has to restart it, it never.
Well, that's
feels,
embarrassing. I wouldn't
But
have
it
said
never
that.
feels.
But it happens.
No, we talk about it, but it never feels like when he gives it because
Yeah.
he's anxious. Whatever the words you want to
I
use.
did that at Harley,
It
and
just
I
never feels though like he's giving
Yeah.
it so much that we're in the next county,
Yeah.
3 seconds later. It never feels like it has that much power.
What if you're on County Line Road?
Yeah, maybe, but I've never, and we've ridden it quite a bit since we've had
Yeah,
it since
yeah.
just a little after July
Yeah.
4th, and I've never felt like it. I feels like it's sturdy because it is so heavy.
Yeah.
It feels sturdy, and it feels like it fits to people the way it
Well,
should.
And I think one thing you got to keep in mind with the bike y'all have is it's not so much the fact that it's the way he's driving it. It's that it's British and it's polite.
It is polite. It is polite. So those of you that haven't heard, Melissa and I have a Triumph Trophy. It's a sport touring bike. I don't know if you noticed on the ride we went on a couple weeks ago, where we come out of a roundabout.
Yes.
So we were on a group ride, about mid-pack, and when we go around a roundabout, people get out of the roundabout a little faster, so I had to catch up.
Yes.
So I would come out of the roundabout and give it a little bit.
I did feel that.
But
There were a couple times.
it wasn't a jerky thing. And then what I stopped myself from saying, Kayla, and Kayla caught me and she starts laughing. Eric Bender asked me last week. He's like, "Hey, my bike's at the shop down here in Columbus. If Kayla drops me off one day, can you take me over to pick it up when it's ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that for you." He goes, "I might even let you ride it." And I was like,
You were giddy.
I
You're
was all giddy,
stir-eyed.
but I'm like, it's a different style of bike than mine.
Yeah.
It's a big bike. It's a beautiful bike, and it cost a crap ton of money. Yes, I realize he has insurance, but still, the last thing I don't know.
Did
Yeah,
he
do
tell
it.
you,
He'll
though,
do
that
it.
his ride by me is him riding on the back of my motorcycle on the way down here, though?
He didn't tell me that. I gotta get the camera set up for that. Get some video of Eric on the back of the bike.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
What so what do y'all have? So I'm looking at Suzuki Boulevard. Eric's looking at a Kawasaki Vulcan S. You've got the Triumph. What are y'all riding?
I think Eric has a Road Glide Special, I think is what it is.
Is that a Harley?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have a Harley Lowrider ST.
Oh, cool.
Jerry, what's your bike brand?
Schwinn.
Pretty much. Yeah.
His has 4 wheels.
No, he has
His
a bike.
is Acura.
No.
You've heard of a Honda Rebel?
Yeah.
He has an Acura.
Oh, Dawn has the bike. What kind of bike does Dawn have?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on. You can come up with something.
I
It's,
don't
it's
know.
composite
This
though.
is
and
Don's bike right here.
this is it right
Yeah.
there.
It's right here on the screen.
Yeah.
Is this motorized?
No.
Oh, it's Donarized.
Yes, he's got left
It's
and right
Donarized,
legs.
Yeah.
Motorized.
Yeah, it's his
Well, I didn't know
thing.
if it was like, half and half.
No,
No.
Half motor, half
He
pedal.
likes waking up early mornings and taking off and doing like 10, 15-mile bike rides.
Wow.
That's awesome.
See,
Wow.
what I like is taking off early afternoons
Yeah.
and on a powered bike where after, I do the assisted pedal.
Yeah.
So I'm still pedaling, but it's assist.
Yeah.
And then when I'm tired of that, I just grab that throttle and I whiskey throttle it back and
Yes.
and let that electric
that-
motor just take me
For
on
that
home.
Big 15, 20 miles an hour.
Our electric bicycles do 28.
Wow.
Wow,
Which-
that's pretty fast.
Yeah, it
It's
is
that's
pretty
cooking.
fast.
It's cooking. I mean, like especially because get those kids. It's like get those training wheels off the sidewalk. Don't you know better? You should be in the road. And it's it's a lot of fun.
How long does it last?
Well, with me on it or with Eric on it? Because there's a weight distribution situation there.
Oh,
No,
I guess I
We've
didn't think about
never-
that.
40 foot.
We've never burned the battery
They
out.
they claim 45 miles, but we've never worn it out.
That's pretty far.
It's very far.
That's
yeah.
a long ways.
And not only that, but we have a spare battery because
Okay.
some kind person was so loving that they stole the bikes off the back of our vehicle once. And
But we never leave the battery
we
with
never
the bike
leave
when
the
it's in
battery
storage.
because you're not supposed to leave the battery
Oh.
on the bike when it's on the back of your vehicle. I guess it's crash protection and also water and all that stuff. So we had the batteries we kept, but not the bikes were stolen. So we got the insurance money and bought new bikes, and so now we have
Backup batteries.
2 backup batteries. Now they're heavy.
Do you
That's
put
the only downside.
now?
but
Do you put a lock on it so people can't steal it?
I had a lock on it.
It got
Oh.
stolen with a
We had
lock
we
on
had the
it.
kryptonite,
Oh,
the unpenetrable, non-stealable lock.
wow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It does, but that's what insurance is for, right?
Yeah.
So
They really wanted your bikes.
they really did. And I keep looking. Every time I go around Columbus, I'm like, where's the person with the electric bike with no battery?
Yeah,
No battery.
that's funny.
Maybe you should put some stickers on it and stuff so it's identifiable.
Yeah, it's too much effort.
Yeah.
I'm also I'm a bone stock person. I like bone stock. I like the fact that the Suzuki that I'm looking at isn't loud. It looks good, and it's got bone stock mufflers and whatever. I don't like loud pipes. I don't like doing all those upgrades. I'm not a modder. I like,
A modder. I like that word.
yeah, the stuff I like is just very like this is how it was meant to be. Now, don't get me wrong. I fully intend on replacing the seat. Everything I've read online says you got to replace the seat. It's a terrible seat. Like that's the big knock against the bike. It's a great motorcycle, but the seat's terrible. That's $1,000, by the way, for a new seat.
Wow.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. But everybody says it's like
Worth it.
it's like having a lazy boy. So
I'm trying to get him to ride out to California with me, up Northern California, where Corbin is.
Yeah.
Where you
Okay.
can do a ride-in, and they actually will customize a seat right there
They will.
in person for you, for about that same $1,000 for buying one off the shelf.
Now the surgery I'll need on my wrist because the motorcycle doesn't have cruise control.
Oh,
That's going to be a little rough. But
Is yours,
Mhm,
Kayla? Yeah.
mhm.
she's like, of course it does.
Yeah, of course it does.
They'll do because they'll
Yeah.
do 1,000-mile rides. They don't think
Yeah.
twice about it.
I
We
didn't even
drove-
look. I didn't even look at the Vulcan.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. At that level, it
doesn't.
doesn't. No.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. We broke our record this year. We made it from the Ozarks all the way home in one day.
You did the Ozarks trip on a bike?
Mm-hmm.
You
You
didn't
didn't
tell
know
me
that?
that. I thought
I
you
knew
drove
that.
down there in the car.
No.
Oh my
I
gosh.
knew they did it on the bikes.
Woo,
Yeah,
that's a long way.
We love doing
Kaylee
long trips.
even answered my phone call in her helmet while she was
Yeah.
riding.
I answer the phone.
How legible is she? Like,
Very. You can't tell.
oh wow.
That technology is so amazing these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
It's I have to focus to hear them, but I also wear earplugs. I wear earplugs and my helmet, so I have to focus to hear them, but they can hear me. But I think I'm yelling. Like when I talk,
Yeah.
I'm sure it sounds like I'm yelling, but nobody's complained. I'll get off the phone faster probably because it's not the most ideal conversation.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
Sure.
in a pinch, it works.
Cool.
How far was that drive?
700 miles.
Wow.
You did it
in
all
a
in one
day.
day?
Yeah, we were
You were-
flying.
On highway. though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a ride.
Yeah, it was a ton of
Was
fun.
your butt sore?
No, we did it later in the season. Once you get used to it enough, it just doesn't bug you anymore.
Yeah.
And we stop about every hour. We'll stop for like 5-10 minutes, and then just
Every
keep
hour.
going.
Is that
If I can translate that for you,
I'm like, did you start at
once you're-
6 in the morning?
once your butt gets numb, you don't feel it
Yeah, I
anymore.
know, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a new thing for me is like everything I've seen in the class and hearing y'all talk about this kind of stuff. You stop often and
Sure.
frequent and
Oh,
take
yeah.
breaks.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
When you're driving a car, when you're driving a
You
truck,
just go.
You just go. And,
I need
and-
fuel. I got to stop.
Yes.
I got to pee.
What
No. On a bike, you enjoy the ride.
yeah.
It's about, yes, the experience of being on a bike and riding is great. But you stop and take breaks and check stuff
Smell the
out.
roses.
Smell the roses, see the local stuff. It's about the experience
Yeah.
Yeah.
and not just A to B.
Yep.
It can be A to B,
It's less fun.
but it's less fun. Yeah.
So my idea is like whenever it's time to go west, motorcycle trailer, hook it up to the Jeep,
Mm-hmm.
do the 1,500 miles it is to prettiness,
Yeah.
or 2,000
Oh, yeah.
depending on where you're going,
Mhm.
and then get the motorcycles out.
Right.
I,
Imagine biking across Kansas.
Our
Just
Nebraska,
Flat and straight.
yeah. Just Wyoming, just
I mean, I think once you guys get the experience here in Ohio, where the roads aren't that great, it's pretty flat. There's not
Yeah.
a lot of curves. The roads aren't that great, and we go
Georgia.
Georgia,
That's-
California,
That's where it's
and
at.
get into some curves. Like take you up to Northern California and just ride around Santa Cruz, San Jose area. My goodness, just
Well-
a whole different world.
So Eric and I, like, we love going to the mountains. We love going out to Gatlinburg and going into the Smokies, or
Mhm.
going out to Colorado and going up to Vail and all that stuff, or Montana and being in West Montana. You know, like that stuff I love, and that's another thing against the carburetor.
Yeah,
is when you get those higher elevations, you got to lean your carburetor out.
You do.
And let me tell you, I remember working on carburetors with my dad when I was a kid. I am that old. And I remember how happy he was when we got rid of our carbureted car and moved to fuel injection.
Well, maybe by
we
the
never had to mess that again.
I can see you and Eric on the side of the road changing jets in the carburetor so it works in higher altitude.
Maybe when those rides come, maybe a different bike will be in order.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have different experience and have upgraded a bike or changed bike.
Well, that's the thing I like, especially the bike I'm getting, I know it's going to be good in the mountains, period. Like it is big enough, it has enough torque. I was nervous about the Rebel because it is such a small displacement motor.
Sure.
How's it going to do when we go see like Kelly and Jimmy, who y'all have seen on the podcast? They were here a couple of weeks ago with us. Like, they live in the mountains of Georgia. They live in a beautiful area where it's great scenery. It's awesome rides. It's also rides in a car. Like, it's just, it's beautiful. But I tell you right now, some of those really steep, long mountain climbs, I could just see us riding up the mountain and then, like, get to the top of the mountain, take a break, and wait for Eric in the Rebel, wound up just 28 miles an hour. Just, and that's what I don't want to see happen. And with this new Kawasaki, it's not going to happen.
No, it's
You're going to be able to climb up that hill just fine.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily about going fast street racing. Forget that. Neither one of us want to do that. That's not. I don't find that fun at all. If I want to go fast, I'm going to fly.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
But motorcycle, I don't want to kill myself.
Yeah.
Like, but when it comes to terrain and climbing hills and things like that, you need displacement. You need power.
I also have a lead on a trailer we can borrow that'll hold 3 bikes. I got that. We had that conversation a while back. I got that phone call the next day. It was like, hey, I meant to tell you last night. We got on something else that I got a trailer that we can put 3 bikes on if you ever want to borrow it.
Well, the only thing to consider is what happens when Melissa gets hers. So,
one of us rides the whole way.
Yeah.
And the other 3 trailer.
I'll ride. I volunteer.
Right.
Well, you guys are riding anyway because
That's true.
That would be a 6-person.
Those of you not watching, the borrowed trailer would be from Eric and Kayla Bendner.
Yeah.
And holds 3 bikes. So we put 3 bikes on it. We'd have 3 bikes that aren't on it riding.
I would almost argue it could fit 4 if it's put on there smart enough. We did the rail systems that are the same in the straight trucks.
Oh yeah.
Yep, works pretty good.
Nice.
Well, I've also got
We'll figure it out.
I'm not looking to get anything until
you
probably
got to
next
figure
summer.
out 50 bikes.
I got a 20-foot aluminum trailer
Yeah.
with. I got the rails on the floor, the rails on the wall.
Well, question, Melissa.
The D-rings,
Are
all
you
that
gonna
stuff.
use
It's just
Vince's bike to
not the funnest
practice
thing in the
on
world.
before
No.
you take the class?
No.
It's
No.
too heavy.
should be borrowing the Kawasaki.
Way too big.
So,
you want to borrow my Vulcan?
There you go. There you go.
You can borrow my
I
Vulcan.
know.
Yep.
No. I was even talking with Vince because I'm going to Oregon in a couple weeks. That I think I might hit up one of Dalton's friends, see if they've got a dirt bike that I could maybe just go out for an hour. Just kind of brush up on my skills because it has been a hot moment since I used to ride dirt bikes. That's why I was asking because I know that you hail from rural.
Yeah.
Raising the kids and that kind of thing. A boy mom. So to be part of the action, I had to drive something, and it was either a sand rail. Most people know it as a dune buggy. We called it a sand rail.
Yep.
It's a Volkswagen engine. Or I had a motorcycle. And so I had like a circa 1970s with no suspension, none, kickstart. And it was probably about the size of your Groms, probably a little smaller than the Groms. But that's what I rode on. And, I was doing 25, 35, whatever you do on gravel road.
Yeah.
We had Forest Service roads. You grew up in Idaho, so I don't know if you had Forest Service roads.
Yep.
But we had Forest Service roads. We don't have those in Ohio. But it was all gravel. So that's what we would do. We would go out either evenings or we'd do weekends, pack a picnics, those kind of things. And the 4 of us, the family would go out and go riding. So I have motorcycle experience. I was just telling Vince, it'd be kind of cool just to hop back on, see if I still understand it. They both have been trying to convince me to maybe do the 1-day course because I already have experience. But I'm like, very different street riding than I think backwoods country road
I
riding.
think if you're comfortable doing the 4-day class or 3-day, whatever it is, it's
Yeah.
either 1 or 2 days in classroom, depending on where you go,
Sure.
and then 2 days on the range. If that's what's comfortable for you,
And I think that's what I wanna
It's
do.
still the same $75.
Yeah.
Either one, right?
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna take mine in the late spring, early summer of next year, and then consider if I want to get a bike or not. I don't know. I like riding on the back. I don't have to do anything.
It's more relaxing.
I just get to look at the scenery. Yeah.
I can see her back there crocheting.
Little Tom
Well, I don't
Daly,
know
little Tom
about-
Daly
Right.
action.
I
just
don't know
kinda
about
making a-
that because
Exactly.
I truly look at all the sites. We'll get back, and I'm like, did you see X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D? I'll go through it all, and he's like, I was driving.
Well, sometimes I'll see that stuff.
Yeah.
When we were on the group ride, I didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
But, you know,
He was very
the bikes,
focused.
oh my goodness, I was so focused.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
It's hard to get
scared the
comfortable
crap
riding in
out
a
of me.
group.
That
I
was,
didn't like it for a long time.
yeah.
Yeah. There was a Jaguar tractor, huge tractor, and it had the Jaguar Glorious emblem on it. And we got back, and I'm like, again, asking him if he saw everything. And I'm like, did you see the Jaguar tractor? I've never seen one. We're talking like a harvester, like kind of tractor. And he's like, no. And so he Googles it. They have a whole line.
Wow.
Really?
But it's not the same as your car.
Oh, it's not Jaguar.
No.
It's Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Spelled the same.
I thought it was a Panther truck. I'm like, we
Yeah.
got a big
Spelled the
Jaguar
same.
inside of
We
our
got a
truck.
bunch
But
of
I'm like,
those, yeah.
I'm like, those are the kind of cool things I like to see. Like, you know, something. The color of it was really weird. It wasn't John Deere green. It wasn't a red one. It wasn't a, whatever your normal tractors are. It was really something obscure. And
It's Kawasaki green.
I'm like, but I like that kind of stuff. How many sailboats were on the lake when we crossed over the bridge, or silly things, or did you smell the barbecue, or smell like somebody was, roasting a pig or something, or whatever it might be. But I right now I enjoy riding on the back.
I love driving. I'm a driver at heart. I love it. If things were just a little bit different, I think I'd be a race car driver. I love driving. It's just one of the things I think it's so much fun. But I will say there have been several times we've done scenic drives, or we've just been in really bad traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And I will get oh my God, look at that building. And it's like I turn to look and I have to snap my head right back because I don't know what traffic's doing, or I don't know about this road or this curve or whatever. I remember doing the Blue Ridge Parkway years ago when we brought that team their truck out in Boone, North Carolina, doing the Blue Ridge Parkway in that Dodge Ram, which was I love that truck. I love that road. It's great. But man, I was so focused on keeping that truck. It's not like the Jeep. I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee, for those of you that don't know. It is the 5.7 V8 Hemi.
Yeah.
It is all-wheel drive. It is a fun vehicle. It takes curves like a sports car. It's great. That pickup truck did not. That diesel pickup truck, man, and it's a curvy road, and it's fast, and it's slow, and then it's RV pulls out and cuts you off, and then Jerry, you've done it. I know you have. You're from that.
I'm from
you're from that
area.
neck of the woods, as they say.
That's my hometown.
And so doing all that, like, I was so stressful. I didn't get hardly any enjoyment out of it. And Eric, when we got done with it, Eric's like, "This was great. I, had so much fun." I'm like, I am stressed out. Like I'm just worn out. It was a rough drive. So, but I think motorcycles. I'm hoping that I continue enjoying that. But I do know by driving by the amount of stuff you have to pay attention to and using SIPD, I'm not going to see certain things. I'm going to miss out on stuff, and that sucks. But
that's why you take those breaks, though, right?
Yep.
Again, that's the reason you take those breaks to enjoy it.
Yep.
If there's something coming up, and if you're with a group of people, and somebody sees something, you say, "Hey, let's stop over here and check this out."
Yeah.
Right. Or if you're planning a long trip, you plan that stuff out.
Yeah.
Pre-planning is everything when you're doing your
no doubt.
motorcycle. We plan exactly where we're going to stop,
Mm-hmm.
and then our rule, because I love the scenic overlooks. If Eric sees because he's usually the lead, he has the GPS in his bike. If he sees a sign for a scenic overlook, he's supposed to pull in.
Yeah. And one of the things on bikes too, depending on the bike, is your fuel range usually is less than what you can do in a car or a truck.
By far. We can go about 200 miles.
I can get about 350 on a full tank, but I'm riding a big bike. It's designed for that touring.
Yeah.
But the bikes that you guys are looking at,
not going to do that.
150, 200 maybe.
Yeah.
So that makes you stop more frequently as well.
Absolutely.
But I like that. You've got a rule. Anything that
that's
says
a great rule.
overlook, you already know.
Yeah.
It's an added
That's
stop.
a great rule.
Oh, and I'm yelling
know?
at him in my helmet too if he passes. I'm like, "You missed it."
Yeah.
No, we have a great time.
Oh my gosh! I just got a picture of this Jaguar. It is Kawasaki green.
It is Kawasaki green, just about. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. You can see that picture right here. It's got a little white on top, but it's Kawasaki green, and it's got the red. It's actually a nice looking, very Christmassy looking.
Yeah.
It was pretty
tractor.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just really cool things. Vince still does the smells. We'll talk about those when we get back. Or how about that wind gust? What did you think about that?
That makes me nervous.
It's a wind gust.
I've not experienced
You're used
gust
to
You've
yet.
done it in a truck. You've been
I
on
have.
80.
I
What
have.
do you do?
Yeah.
Same thing.
No one warned me about the wind gusts, and I was on the Grom. That's so light.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea,
Yeah.
and I was on a 2-lane road.
Now that's a bike that if a Vespa passes you, you feel it, right?
Yeah. And a semi passed me going the opposite way, and
Yeah.
I screamed. I screamed. I thought I was wrecking, and it just jerked the bike so bad. Eric was behind me. We didn't have the comms in our helmet yet,
Yeah.
and he's like, "I just saw you slam on the brakes, and I knew exactly what happened." I pulled over. I was like, "I need a moment."
Yeah.
That was so scary.
Yeah.
So how do you plan for it now? You a semi passes you, and you're like, okay, I know it, so I'm gonna lean out of it, so that when it hits, it
I'll
doesn't.
move more to the right, and
Try to get out of the way of
My bike doesn't react like
it's
that
heavy.
anymore.
Like not like the Grom. It's a heavier bike.
Yeah.
So I used to live in the Antelope Valley, north of downtown Los Angeles, and high desert. In the afternoon, the wind picked up.
Yeah.
And part of my ride from work to home was across the runway of the Palmdale Airport. So wide open space in the desert, and the wind would run from north to south. And on my ride home, if you were to look at me just in a still, you'd think I was turning left because I was leaning into the wind, and that was keeping me from doing all kinds of stuff. Now, where Melissa mentioned the wind was we went across a land bridge over a lake,
Yeah.
and we came out of trees and
Little hills.
little hills into open space, and the wind just hit us.
Yeah.
Until we got across the land bridge into civilization again, and it was not there. Just like in a truck, you come out of a pass, crossing a bridge, and that wind's just going to tag you. So you prepare for that stuff. And like Kayla said, lane position. You think about your lane position where you need to be, and so there's still a lot to learn.
I try to make sure that I'm facing forward when I know we're going to go across those kind of bridges. Because if I have my head turned a certain way, it feels like it catches wind a little different. Does that make sense?
Pushes you.
It
certain
does.
way.
Yeah.
So I try
Yeah.
to, because we've ridden this area several times. It's Sunbury up by the Pilot, Kayla, and then you come across Alum Creek Lake.
Okay. Yep.
So it's wide open, and that wind just comes down the plain, Oklahoma. Anyway, but I've just learned, okay, we're going to cross it, just face forward, because again, just that little bit of a tweak of the helmet, where you're turning and looking, just kind of the wind will catch you and whip you. But once we're in it, that first initial once we're in it, then I may just slightly swivel to look at the sights and scenery.
And count the boats on the lake.
And count the boats on the lake.
Yeah.
There were a lot that one weekend. I think it was prime property if you could find a spot on the lake.
The jet skiers are going between the
I know,
between
seriously.
the boats.
Seriously.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, this has been Motorcycle Talk with the Otter Belton crew.
That's right.
We hope you enjoyed your time with us. We hope we maybe gave you at least some fodder, some little, a couple of chuckles on your past hour drive. And thank you, Kayla and Eric, for joining us. It was a lot of fun. And we hope to have y'all back soon. Jerry? What are we forgetting?
Is he still awake down there?
Yes.
I think he said he got up at 4 a.m. today.
He always does.
Yeah.
He always does.
Jerry.
That's his thing. That's his thing.
Jerry.
For those who don't know, it's about 4 a.m. now. So it's
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day. The only reason we talked to him, the only reason I ask him now to fill in the blanks is because I want to make sure he wakes up for his drive home. So, what are we forgetting?
Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit all the buttons in front of you. If you would like to reach out to Hyfield Trucking, if you're interested in doing what we do over here, or talk to somebody, or driving, or anything like that, visit our website at hyfieldtrucking.com. We would love to chat with you on there live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or give us a call at 833-HYFIELD, HYFIELD. Recruiting would love to talk to you as well. You can also send us an email over at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com or send us an email from hyfieldtrucking.com. Either way.
Yeah, and if you didn't like what we had to say, just hit that thumbs down. Hit
Or
that thumbs
let
down.
us know what you didn't like, and we'll give you a refund of everything you paid for this podcast.
100%.
100%
That's our.
refund.
We have a 100% policy.
I want to
And,
see some suggestions.
Yes.
Our viewers have suggestions.
I
They're
know.
driving along. They've got them.
You know,
Hit us with your best shot.
well, we've had a few people reach out and be like, "Hey, why aren't y'all talking about trucks again? You know what? Or not trucks, but trucking and
The
whatever."
story, yeah.
So we're going to continue that. We've had a couple little interruptions.
And we didn't know that they were
and
coming.
we didn't know y'all were going to
We
be
didn't.
here. We didn't know that
We
Kelly and
didn't.
Jimmy were going to be here. And last
We
week was
will
kind of a
resume.
fluke. So we will resume. It's literally, I have a note right here. You can't see it, but it's there. And
we
it
haven't
is-
forgotten what year he's
We
going to pick
haven't.
up
Yes,
in.
No.
And we're supposed to be talking about the thing we did with the trucks to make them different and how
Yeah, I
we
know.
fixed the
Right,
thing
yeah.
that couldn't be done. We changed the world. So,
I have one last thing to say.
okay.
So I know we record on a specific day, but this will air on another day.
Yes.
I will be a grandma by the time this airs.
You will be.
And
You
I'm-
will be a
for
grandma.
a third time.
You will be.
For a third time.
Yep.
First for this son.
And just so y'all know, I won't be a grandpa. She'll be a grandma.
I'm super excited. Again, I know this airs at a different day, but we had a chance to talk today, and they do go in
That's
tomorrow
awesome.
on Tuesday the 8th. Let's hope he's born on the same day too that they go in. But otherwise, that'll be a long labor.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
Can
Super
you
I'm
imagine-
excited for
can-
you.
Can you imagine spending 20 plus hours in labor?
Women do it. I did not, but
Imagine
women do it.
doing it as a father, because I did.
Their
My
middle
daughter
school's-
was 21 hours.
Yeah,
That's just rude.
It is rude.
Have you ever told her, like,
Yeah.
you know what? I do
You know
love
what?
you,
yeah.
but
Next podcast, I'm going to call her live on the air and tell her
Yeah.
how rude she was.
you know how you.
Unless Jerry vetoes
And we're gonna
it.
and we're gonna do a
Please
20.
veto
We're gonna do
it.
a 21.
Please
We're gonna
veto
do a
it.
21-hour podcast.
We, yes,
we go.
in honor
and
of
she
her,
has to be on the phone the
the
whole time.
Yeah,
That's
The
funny.
whole
we should do that.
time.
I'm vetoing that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
I
Rob.
don't have the energy. to
Appreciate
edit
that. Thank you.
They're middle school
You know, there's no
sweethearts,
editing.
and I've just
It's just a lot.
Have
I'm ruining things for myself. Thank you, Jerry, for that. I appreciate it.
They're
I-
high
I-
school sweethearts.
they're middle school sweethearts,
Middle school
and for a very long time, I've always wondered what their babies would look like, and I never thought they would get married. At a certain point in time, I realized it probably was high school that it was going to be a forever thing, but
Yeah.
I've just been waiting to see what their babies are going to look like.
Well, at this point, you know.
I know.
Very exciting. I can't
excited.
wait to
Oh.
celebrate with you.
Yes,
Uh,
we'll be
we
doing
got-
my birthday.
we got to do cigars and
Yeah.
bubblegum cigars
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
and champagne.
Champagne.
There we go. I'm excited.
Sparkling cider.
Sparkling cider.
I expect a photo, not,
Yeah, I know.
right away, but in the near future.
In the very
Well, I
me
just
too.
sent you a photo.
Oh.
I don't want.
right?
I don't want one of the like new
That sounded
That
weird.
kind of gross.
He'll be
like-
bundled.
Give me well.
At least
Let him
wipe it down.
wipe it down. Take one of those. What they sell them at the stores. The dude wipes. Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
The dude wipes
Yeah.
and like.
I'll
clean
send
'em up
appropriate
and-
photos.
Okay. See its little cute little scrunched up face. Looks like a.
Yeah.
They know it
Pit
already
bull-
has
not a
hair.
pit bull.
It's gonna look like their
They already
Gerber
know he has
baby.
hair. They can see it in the.
3D
the
or
3D?
4D.
Yep. I'm like, oh.
That's too much information.
I'm like, that's definitely not Dalton. Dalton was bald for like until 3.
Wow.
I wonder if he's gonna be a redhead.
I don't know.
I'm pulling for a
Yeah,
redhead.
choice
but-
between redhead and blonde.
That's
right?
it.
That's pretty much the
your
only. That's
option.
the only two options for those two.
Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
If it's something, anyway, we're not gonna do that. All right. Well, everybody, we'll talk to you next week. Stay safe and make good decisions.
Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.
Vroom, vroom.